What's up, guys? I'm Louis Ruggiero, and this is Nothing's Off the Table. This podcast is about real conversations with real people who've been through it, myself included. We're talking about resilience, bouncing back, and pushing through when life hits hard. No fluff, no BS, just real stories that inspire others. If you're into that kind of thing, you're in the right place. Let's get to it.
Louis Ruggiero, congratulations on launching your new podcast, Nothing's Off the Table with Louis Ruggiero. I am so proud of you, dude. I really am. You have multiple years of sobriety today. You are the epitome of facing adversity, getting through it, rebuilding your life, and discovering a new way to live. You are now a family man. You have a 1-year-old child. You're engaged to get married. You are actively a member of your family. You show up for friends. Why do you want to start a podcast?
Well, first, thank you for interviewing me for my first episode. Love you, adore you, respect you, admire you. It's interesting because, you know, the last 8 years I've been in and out of sobriety. It took me 6 years to really get it and buy in. And I've always throughout that period of time wanted to do a podcast specifically because I've been through so much, bro. And I've been through so much crazy that some people may have gone through, but most people have not. And I've made it to the other side. You know, I've made it to the other side where like I am at peace. My head hits the pillow tonight. I sleep like a baby. And I think most importantly, it's about helping someone else, right? And it's about sharing my experience, what I've been through, how close I've been to death, how close I've been to jail, how close I've been to ruining my family's life forever, you know? And it's about sharing that story and sharing about what I've been through, how I got through it, where I'm at today, the struggles that, you know, I have today, right? Life, you get sober, life doesn't just become rainbows and fairy tales and lucky leprechauns dropping, you know, marshmallows out of the rainbow. It's life is on life's terms, you know, but it's, my problems today are nothing compared to what they used to be. And, you know, getting through that and making it through to the other side is really what I want to share, you know. And obviously we can talk about the war stories, we can talk about the crazy things and, some situations that I was involved in and how I got through those super stressful, super toxic, super dangerous situations. But I think most importantly is like where I'm at today, right? I'm in sobriety. I actively work a program of recovery. I have a sponsor who knows that I'm his sponsee. I've worked the steps. I actively work the steps on a daily basis. And because of that, bro, I'm a good fiance. Hopefully going to get married soon. I have a 14-month-old son. He's incredible, life-changing. I'm an active member, like you said, of my family where my parents can, for the most part, rely on me. And, you know, I show up, you know, I don't always show up 100%, but I always show up. And you look back over my last, you know, 10, 15, 20, 25, you know, years since I was a 5-year-old, I was an addict before the drugs and alcohol were ever even introduced into my life. You know what I mean? It was like I was constantly in trouble and not an active member of my family. I was constantly causing chaos and destruction and fear, like just destroyed my family. You know what I'm saying? And I think now at 30 years old, I've crossed that point of like, hey, like I don't want to be that guy anymore, right? I don't want to be that guy to my family. I don't want to be that guy to my friends. And I don't want to be that guy to the world. You know, like I used to live with no fear of consequences. It was like, whatever the I wanted to do, bro, I was doing. I don't care if it could have landed me in jail, could have killed me, could have killed my friends, could have landed my friends in jail. Like I was doing it if I wanted to do it. And I think the flip side of that is I needed to learn how to channel that into positive energy and positivity and good things. And it just took me a long time to get there, bro. And it took a lot of pain. It took a lot of pain. And it took me getting like really, really close to death and really, really close to jail for me to be like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I've done it every which way possible. The only way I have not done it is the AA way, the GA way. And it's always landed me in the same spot, which is, you know, as you know, chaos, destruction.
It's the same actions over and over again, expecting different results, insanity. And
dude, I was on the carousel of insanity for the better half of 10 years, which is when my addictions started, you know, and it's before that though, I was on a carousel of insanity of just constantly being in trouble. And I was constantly like lying, manipulating, cheating, stealing, conning. And I used my charm and I used my wisdom and I used my family's connections. And I used that all to kind of get my way and do whatever the hell I wanted to do. And it destroyed me, you know? And like that carousel of insanity, it's like, just keeps going around and around. It's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is my definition of insanity. So, you know, I've wanted to do this for a long time, but every time I've wanted to do it, I was always self-destructing in a certain part of my life. Whether it was drugs, alcohol, gambling, other bad behaviors, self-destructive behaviors, overeating, sex. And I just like, every time I wanted to do it, I was so involved in something else that like, it never felt right for me to finally sit down today and like talk about it and like talk about it in a place where I can be like, hey, like I'm actually doing everything the right way right now. And like, I'm not perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect, but I would have felt like a fraud back then sitting up here. I don't feel like a fraud today.
One of the most powerful things is that, you know, not only have you done the work on yourself, but you're wanting to pay it forward so that others, potential listeners, viewers, can hear some of the mistakes that you've made. And this will prevent them from making those same mistakes and going through that misery, potentially almost tearing your family apart, or you not having a future, or even dying. You could have died so many times. I have known you for 13 years, 12 or 13 years now. Yeah. And I remember times when you were going through tough times, and I'm like, this fucking guy's still alive. Oh my God, he's still going. He's still out there going. And then now today you show up sober, and your willingness to help the next person speaks to the work you've done on yourself. That's the most powerful thing. You spoke about that guy not being that guy anymore. Take us through who that guy was, and take us from the bottom. Where are you from? What was your upbringing like?
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in New York City. Grew up on the Upper East Side. I grew up in a great house. My father's an attorney. My mom's been a news anchor in New York for, she might get mad at me for saying this, but for almost 40 years. She did the 10 o'clock news on Fox 5 from the 80s up until probably around 2008, 2009. And then they moved her to Good Day New York. And, you know, I grew up with a family who's been in the public eye. You know, my family owns a restaurant in Manhattan, Fresco by Scotto. Been open for 31 years. We're here right now in the private dining room.
So wait, your mom has been an anchor longer than Fresco by Scott. She's going to get even more pissed at me for saying that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And Fresco's been around longer than I've been alive, bro.
Wow.
I literally grew up in this restaurant. This restaurant was started by my grandmother for my uncle, and it wound up turning into a family business. My uncle ran the restaurant for many years. My aunt worked here My mom, her title is the president of schmoozing. She comes, she greets customers, says hello, walks around. But you know, I would work here over the summers. All my friends go to sleepaway camp. I'm in the kitchen, peeling potatoes, cleaning artichokes, dishwasher, salad line, pasta line, grill line, busboy, blah, 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 blah. You name it. I've done it here. But yeah, I grew up in a good house, 2 loving parents. I have a sister who's 5 years older than me. And you know, I never had a need, bro. There's no needs. There's no wants. Everything I ever wanted, I had. My parents made me, you know, earn it. Like, oh, I want this. I want the new Madden. Go get an A on your next math test Friday and I'll get you Madden. You know what I mean? But there was never like a worry about food or anything like that on my table. And, you know, there was also a lot of pressure that came with that. You know, there was always eyes on me. It was always Rosanna Scotto's son and your mom is so great. Your mom is so cool and blah, blah, blah. And all that stress and pressure that came with it. And like, as a young kid, like I don't think I was able to like fully comprehend who my mom was because like, that was just my mom, bro. Like I didn't know another mom. That was my mom since I was a kid. So yeah, I think, you know, as I was a young kid, I would say from like, let's say 5 years old up until 12, 13 years old, I was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD, which my parents never told me I had dyslexia until I was 22 years old, because they said I would use that as an excuse, as a cop out to like, you know, make excuses for why I wasn't doing well in school or not, which, you know, it's a whole nother conversation, but I struggled in school. I did my best. I always tried. I loved sports. I played 3 sports all the way from when I was a kid, all the way through high school. My dad coached me in all my sports up until high school. My dad never missed a game. My dad never missed a practice. So my parents were there, bro. They were present. They worked a lot, but they like showed up as much as they possibly could. And, you know, from like kindergarten to 5th grade, like I was kind of like getting in trouble, but it was more like he doesn't sit still. He's a class clown, but we love him. He's so, you know, he has such a big heart. He's so kind, whatever. And then I went to this school in 5th grade called Poly Prep. It's in Brooklyn. They had a football team. I really loved football. It was one of the only schools in New York that has a football team in Manhattan. It's in Brooklyn. So I went to Poly Prep, and when I would go there, I'd have to take an hour bus each way, there and back. And I never, in like this weird way, I never felt like I fit in, right? I never felt like the suit that I was born in fit correctly. So I was like always seeking outside validation. And like there were all these like older kids on the school bus. I was in 5th grade. There was kids from 5th grade all the way through senior year of high school on my bus. And I'd instigate them and I'd, you know, curse at them. I was like a 5th grader. I'd be telling like, you know, seniors in high school, like, you know, F you, blah, 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 like getting a rise out of them. And then they would have me like, they would give me like a Snapple bottle and be like, yo, throw the Snapple bottle out the window. And I'd be like, oh, all right. And I throw the Snapple bottle out the window and everyone would be going crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, like everyone loves me. Mm-hmm. Like, wow. You know, I feel like that was like my first like drug or like feeling of like being seen or being heard.
You felt a part of.
I felt a part of, like for all the wrong reasons, but like my 12-year-old brain could not figure out why I felt a part of, you know? And that kind of continued on for like from like 5th grade to 7th grade. I got suspended. 5th grade, I got suspended from the school bus like 5 times. 6th grade, another 10 times. 7th grade, I got suspended 8 times in 6 months, both from school and from the school bus. And then the end of 7th grade, some kid was calling me names. It was during PE class, gym class. Some kid was calling me names. I put my hands on him. It was towards the end of the year and the school brought my parents in. There was no more mommy and daddy bailing me out. The school was like, hey, like this is the end of the year. It's a good time to just cut our losses. Like, you know, he's not allowed back next year. And I wound up going to a school in the city, in Manhattan on the Upper West Side called Dwight. They had this special program called the Quest program. It was for kids with learning disabilities. And it was like very individualized, like a tutor built into the school that was able to communicate with all of your teachers and like kind of like keep an eye on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there and I actually, for the most part, did not get in trouble. I had one incident my freshman year of high school where I got into a fight with a kid in my class. We went to the park and we were gonna fight, and he pulled a knife on me. And a couple of my friends were there, and long story short, the fight didn't happen. He put the knife away, but the school found out. And when the school found out, they expelled the other kid and they suspended me. And there was this dean. She hated me, bro. She hated me. She could see through my bullshit. She didn't care that like I was a good kid with a good heart. Like she wanted me fucking out, bro. She wanted me out. She didn't care about who my mom was. She hated me. And the headmaster of the school, his name's Steven Spawn. He's a great guy. He loved me. He saw the good in me. He was like, hey, like, we're not throwing him out. We're going to suspend him for a week. They made me go see like a special therapist to make sure that I wasn't going to like come back and like continue with like, you know, getting into fights or whatever. And then that summer, they sent me on a community service trip to Tanzania in Africa. And that was a great trip. One of the best trips of my life. Kind of like get this privileged kid out of Manhattan and show him like what the real world may look like, you know, and what people are actually going through. I thought it was very two opposite ends of the spectrum. But yeah, I did well in high school. I was like a B+, A- student. I did decent on my ACT. I got a 30 on my ACT. I didn't really party, you know, I wasn't really a drinker in high school. I drank a little bit here and there. I smoked a lot of pot, smoked weed every night. That was like kind of like my thing. We got a dog when I was a freshman. My job was to walk Lulu at 9:00 every night. I'd go downstairs, roll up a joint, walk Lulu, smoke a joint, go to bed. So I get through high school, right? Everything's all good. I get good grades. I get a good ACT score. I get accepted early decision into George Washington University in DC. Great school. Everyone's happy. My family's happy. Everyone's like, oh, he's finally like, it's coming together. Like he's growing up, you know, everyone's like so thrilled. I get to GW, bro. And I think I did well in high school because everything was so structured for me. Like I woke up, I had to go to school because my parents, my dad made sure I went to school. I did decent, whatever. And I had athletics, and athletics to me was so important. So I didn't want to be stoned or drinking all the time or partying because I like wanted to perform in athletics. I get to GW, all of that structure is gone. Not playing sports, not involved in any activities. I don't have anyone forcing me to go to class or school. If I don't go to class, nothing happens. And I join a fraternity, and I'll never forget. I was pledging a fraternity. I was pledging AE Pi. I was the honorary non-Jew because I'm Catholic. AE Pi is a Jewish fraternity. And one of the first pledge nights, a friend of mine gave me a 2 milligram Xanax to try. I'd never done pills at this point. I'd done cocaine maybe like once or twice.
You went right in for a 2 milligram pill?
Bro, I didn't even know what it was. He was like, try this, you'll feel amazing.
Oh my God.
And we're drinking. We're drinking. So I'm like, all right.
Oh my God.
I'm like, all right, cool. I pop a full stick, bro. And I'll never forget the feeling. Like 20 minutes in, I'm like, wow, I feel amazing. I feel amazing.
This is what I've been looking for.
Like, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what she thinks of me. I don't care that I'm failing all of my classes. And all I cared about at that point on was like getting barred out, my fraternity, and girls. That was it. And I somehow made it through my first semester of freshman year. I come home for winter break, And my cousin picked me up from school and drove me from DC back to New York. And the first thing I have her do is make me stop at my drug dealer's house in Manhattan to pick up a bunch of drugs for winter break. And I get home and my parents were like looking at me, and like, I could tell, bro, I was getting that look. You know, the look you get from your mom when your mom knows something is up, but she doesn't
Suspect,
know. She's like, yo, what is going on? Like, what are you on? You look horrible. Your eyes are all sunken in. I'm like, oh, such a stressful semester. I'm keeping my classes. I had a fucking 1.04 GPA my first semester of freshman year, bro. What class did I fucking go to? So I'm making up these stories, whatever. And long story short, I go back my second semester of sophomore year. I last about a month. And at this point now, I'm doing about 10 milligrams, 12 milligrams of Xanax a day.
A day?
A day. I was waking up, immediately taking
6 bars a day?
I was immediately taking a full 2 milligram stick as soon as I woke up every day. And I would say about like end of January, which is like, you know, first couple weeks back, second semester, I had this like mental breakdown, bro. Like I had this mental breakdown. And I like called an ex-girlfriend and was like, yo, I love you. I don't know how, like, I can't live like this anymore. Like something that like, I don't remember because I was so barred out, something that like scared her.
Triggered off those. Yeah.
And I passed out, barred out on a park bench in DC, like on like the Lincoln Memorial area somewhere over there. And she got really nervous because it was like 2 a.m. I'm calling her, I'm hysterically crying, like emotionally all over the place. So she called my mom, was like, hey, like your son just called me. I'm really worried about him. I don't know where the fuck he is. His phone's off now. My phone had died and I'm asleep on a park bench. So next thing you know, I wake up and there's just a bunch of Washington, D.C. Capitol police officers all around me. They arrest me. They don't arrest me. They handcuff me and they bring me to a psych ward on a 5150.
Mm-hmm.
And I like come to in the psych ward and I'm like in the psych ward with like legit, like mentally unwell human beings. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, you can't call anybody. Like you're here for 72 hours. You can't leave. It's the law. My mom being who she is, she calls the mayor of New York City, explains the situation. The mayor's calling the mayor of DC. They get me out of there in 48 hours. And my mom picks me up. I come home and I'm like, yeah, I have a Xanax problem, blah, blah, blah. I get honest, you know, at that time, probably 50% honest.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me in Hazelden intensive outpatient down in Tribeca, which is where you and I met.
Yeah.
That was 2013.
You were a baby.
I was a baby. I was 18. I was 18.
Was that your first treatment facility?
That was my first taste or go at treatment, AA, sobriety, anything along those lines. And I kind of went in there with like, I just can't do Xanax anymore. And like, I'm going to do this to get my mom and dad off my back, but I'm going back to school next year. And I'm like, I'm obviously going to drink and I'm obviously going to smoke pot, you know, but it was like, take a time out, take a deep breath, get the heat off kind of situation.
What did you hear in there? When you went in there, you obviously had the intention to stop Xanax. You knew Xanax was a problem. What did you hear when you got your first taste of recovery, a structured recovery?
I mean, bro, I don't remember because I didn't want to hear anything.
Yeah.
I just was there to get everyone off my back. Like I heard a little bit about like people who are older and like, oh, I've been doing this and I just went to rehab for 60 days and now I'm here and I'm in the sober living. And I'm kind of sitting there just being like, bro, these people are all fucking idiots. Like
Yep.
I just like had like a phase. It was just a phase. Like I'm not an addict.
Yep.
You know, and they're like, go to AA meetings. And like, I would go to AA meetings, take a picture. I'd walk in, take a picture of the AA meeting, and then I'd leave.
So you could send it to someone.
So I could send it to my mom, the therapist, the IOP person.
That is such a no-no in any 12-step meeting. Like that is.
I'll never forget. It was shortly after that. I wound up going to one and staying through the whole one. And, there's people in the meeting that say like, if you want what we have, we'll go to any lengths, to achieve it or to get this, whatever. And I remember my head being like, oh, perfect. Like, I don't want anything that you crazy God AA psychopaths have. So like, thank you so much. I'll never see you again. And it was like, perfect. Like I felt like I didn't want to be there. I didn't belong. I had nothing in common with these people. And my parents were like, they were just, okay, we're going to listen to him. Maybe it was just a phase and he's going to go back to school. And like, we know he's going to drink and smoke pot and he'll have a therapist and he'll drug test him on the drug test. As long as there's, no pills or no Xanax popping in his urine analysis, like, okay, cool. Like he's a college kid. Of course he's going to drink and smoke weed. So I went back a year later, my second semester, sophomore year. And like 3 weeks in, bro, I get into this crazy ass bar fight outside of a club in DC. And I get punched in the back of the head. I get my face stomped on. I get knocked out and I get my face stomped on. And I wake up in a hospital with my mom and dad there. I had broken nose, fractured cheekbones, bro, my face was just mangled, bro. And my parents are like a mess, bro. Like I have a picture that like of me, the picture my mom took of me sleeping with blood all over my face like a balloon, bro. And it was like just another instance. Like I just could not stay out of trouble. Like I'm one of those people that trouble finds me, and I feel like I was wired as a kid to do the wrong thing. Like most people are wired, like I'm going to do the right thing. And like when the wrong thing presents itself, like I have that voice in my head that's like, hey, I shouldn't do this. Like my brain was like, the wrong thing was like, oh yeah, like I'm going to get a rise. I'm going to get a thrill. I'm going to like seek that adrenaline. You know what I mean? And like, that was like so easy for me to do. And when I did the right thing, it was like hard for me to choose that way for such a long time. I don't know why. I feel like that kind of goes more into like the inner child. And like when I was young, I'd get in trouble a lot. And then my mom would pay attention to me more because I was in crisis. And I felt like that was the only way I got her attention. And it all kind of like intertwined, which is like how this journey has really come to a head, is like I've had to really go back to my behaviors as a young child, because that's really where it started, So anyway, so I come home for a couple of weeks. I go back, I finish my sophomore year. Summer's fine. I'm interning for the Brooklyn Nets. Everything's all good. I go back to school my junior year, and September of my junior year, my best friend at the time had an accidental overdose at GW and he passed away. And that was, I think that period of time for me was kind of where it all really, really started, like at that time, after that bar fight, I was prescribed Oxycontin. And I loved that feeling. I had never done Oxycontin up until that point in my life. Never. And so now I'm like, okay, I can't do Xanax, but I can do Oxycontin,
And you're 20 years old when that fight happened.
I'm 20 years old when that fight happened.
And they prescribed you Oxycontin.
Yeah, bro, my face was fucked up, Kevin.
Yeah.
Like bad.
Yeah.
And I had to have a nasal reconstructive surgery because I had a fully deviated septum, fully collapsed nose. So like I was on this Oxy for a bit, and then I really loved it. I like halfway through the bottle, like after that point, bro, you don't really need them anymore. You know what I mean? Like you're just taking them at that point because you like them.
First couple days,
you really need them on a surgery like that. And then like after like day 4 or 5, you could totally get away with some ibuprofen or Advil or Aleve, and like you're fine. Mm-hmm. I wanted to keep taking them because I really liked them.
What did you feel when you first did the Oxy. So you had said when you did Xanax for the first time, you felt this like, okay, no more pressure. Like I don't have to go to, I can do whatever I want. And you felt just like the pressure on your back just lifted. What did you feel with Oxy? I'm saying that asking because I had a very similar experience. And then when I hit Oxy, I was like, no, this is the feeling.
Yeah.
Did you have that same experience?
So one of my best friends, he was an opiate user for a very long time, and he describes it best. Doing Oxy or heroin or any type of opiate, it's like the feeling of being kissed by angels.
Yes.
Like that warm, comforting blanket, and you got the itch and the nod, and you're just like in bliss, and like this really sick. I feel like only addicts can talk about it like this and understand.
You become a slave to opiates.
Bro.
Like that is the best way to put it. It is out of your control. You have no control. You are willing to do whatever it takes to get the next one.
So, I mean, when you say do whatever it takes, I did whatever it took. From that point on, I didn't want to touch any other drug besides cocaine and oxys. And then I found Roxys, which were the blue M30s.
Yeah, those things are
30 milligrams. And so I go back to GW my first semester of junior year, and we're all doing Oxy 30s, Opanas, Somas, which are muscle relaxers. And we're doing coke, and we're chopping it up and mixing it all together and doing it all at the same time. And we're drinking, and we're going out, and we're spending money on our parents' credit cards. Like there's like money just fucking grows on trees. And, when you come, like, as I look at my life, like I come from such a privileged life, and I've been bailed out by my parents so many times that I came to this belief that the consequences do not apply to me. And as I got older, I had to learn the hard way so many fucking times that the consequences do apply to me. You know what I'm saying? Bro, when you're a kid in like 5th grade and you get in trouble for like having a fight or like skipping class, and your mom goes and talks to the dean and you get out of it, like they're trying to be the best parents ever and protect their children.
Of course.
And like they're hoping that like this scare is enough that their child's going to understand that they shouldn't be doing these things. But for me as an addict, which I believe I was born an addict, it just enabled me. It instilled this thing in my brain, this belief in my brain that I could do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm going to get away with it. And I'm always going to get out of it. And that also became another way I would get high. I would do things when I was a kid, get in trouble, whatever, get out of it. Oh, wow, I can't believe I got out of that one.
It's an ego trip too. It's like, dude, I can get away with anything. I'm bigger than anything. I'm more powerful than anything. I went through the same shit, dude.
So,
yeah.
When my friend Willie passed away, and listen, he was a great kid, didn't have a drug problem. We just partied a lot, bro. We did all these drugs together thinking that nothing would happen. And the ultimate consequence happened. And, I was a wreck. I was a wreck. And I had so much survivor's guilt because I had done the same drugs he did that night, as did a couple of us that night. And I felt, because my self-esteem on the inside was so low, I believed I was such a piece of shit. I believed I was that addict. I believed that I was the problem. And I had so much survivor's guilt because I always would say for a long period of time, that should have been me. He deserved a second chance. He was not a piece of shit. But at that time in my life, bro, I was running it amok in all areas of my life. I didn't care about anything. All I wanted to do was get high. That's it. I'd steal from my parents. I'd steal from friends. I'd steal from the store. Whatever I needed to do to afford my oxys, I did.
It's your higher power. Oxys are your higher power.
Yeah. And bro, it was just, Kev, it was so crushing and so confusing for a 20-year-old kid to go through that and then have those emotions. And then, you know, for my parents to be like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, mom, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's going to be fine. I mean, dude, that next week after he passed away, his funeral was in Manhattan, and I was snorting Roxy 30s every single night. Like before I was trying to put up, like, this is for you, you know?
Yeah.
Like just completely warped, sick thinking, but I was in so much pain, bro. Like immense pain.
Were you there the night he passed away?
I was not there the night he passed away.
Can you walk us through the day you found out that he had passed away?
So the night before, we all went out to this club, and I had bought a bunch of Oxys for all of us. You know, he would buy the Coke, she would buy the Xanax, she would buy this, I would buy that. And we'd all combine forces at the end of the night or at the beginning of the night. Yeah. And we went out, we partied, went to this club, had a great time. I came home that night, and it was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And I remember before going to sleep, like I propped myself up and I sat up basically to fall asleep because I was so afraid that I was going to like choke on my vomit.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, wow, like I'm so fucked up. And then the next morning I woke up and I had a bunch of calls and missed text messages from people like, hey, like, have you heard from Willie? Apparently he went to the hospital. And I'm like, what, like, what's going on? I'm like waking up, bro. I'm like still like kind of like fried and not really like knowing what's going on. And so I start calling people. No one has an answer. I was friends with his mother. I called his mom and I was like, hey, like, you know, we're all looking for him. Do you have any information? Like they said he went to the hospital, and she's hysterically crying, bro. Hysterically crying. And I remember just like my heart like dropping, and she's like, you know, Louis, like he's dead. And I remember like, bro, I literally like just like the phone fell in my hands and I like fell to the floor, and like I like started like feeling a little dizzy, and I just like I couldn't believe it. I started hysterically crying. I started screaming. My friend who was in our, like, we had a group of like 5 best friends in there. One of our friends was with me, and he was like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I'm like, Willie's dead. Willie's dead. And we just laid there, bro. And we just hugged one another, and we just held one another. And I called my mom right away, obviously. And my mom was like, I'm coming to get you. And I was like, I'm coming home. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm going to take the next Amtrak, get out of here. And my best friend, my boy Alex, he grew up on the same floor as me. He had never visited me at college yet. And that was the first, he came that Friday. Willie passed away Saturday morning. And it was his first weekend visiting me ever. First college visit he's ever done with a friend. And that was his first experience. And we got on the train, went back to the city. And, you know, my mom was like, she was like, you know, what happened? Do we have to be concerned about anything? And I'm like, no. And, you know, bro, I was like in a trance for like a good 3 or 4 days. Like I didn't know what was happening, what was going on. Couldn't believe it. Like it was my first real experience as like an adult, like with a brain of death. I'd lost my grandfather, my dad's dad, when I was in 8th grade, but like he died in his 80s from stage 4 lung cancer. And like he was an old man. So like you can kind of like comprehend and process that like an old sick man with cancer passes away. But like when your friend who's 20 years old passes away from like something that's so tragic and so avoidable and just doesn't even like you can't make sense of it, bro. You're just confused and you're in so much pain. And then you add in the fact that like I'm there doing all of these drugs too. It's like, holy fuck, like that should have been me. And then that tape played on and on and on and on.
Did you stop for a moment after your friend had passed and say, like, maybe I should stop doing what I'm doing because I potentially could be next?
So I didn't. Initially, the first like couple weeks, like my Oxycontin, my Roxy use
soared,
bro, skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Because I could not sit in my own head. I could not sit in my own body. And then after like a couple of weeks, a month or so, I was like, okay, like I got to chill out. And I quickly learned about these opiate withdrawals that they talked about. And I'm like, holy shit. So now I'm going through these opiate withdrawals. I quickly learned I couldn't stop the opiate withdrawals.
Can you take us through what an opiate withdrawal is like?
So for me personally, what I experienced was it feels like the flu times 5,000. You want to sleep. Your legs are like twitching. It feels like the bones in your legs. For me, it felt like the bones in my legs were trying to like come out of my skin. TMI, you're shitting your pants. You can't control anything. And I remember I'm going through withdrawals and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why is this? And I'm like, I'm just going to I had like 2 or 3 Oxy. I'm like, I'm just going to take one. Maybe this will make me feel better. And I took one. And when I took one, literally, bro, I snorted it. As soon as I snorted it, I felt instantly better. And I remember sitting there. I was in DC in my apartment. I remember sitting there being like, fuck, I'm fucked.
I'm never stopping this.
I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I'm fucked. And that continued for the next 7 or 8 months. And shortly in between that period of time, I learned that the only way I'm going to feel better getting off Oxys is if I do some Xanax to help me get off the Oxys. And then I'm going to stop the Xanax because the Xanax withdrawals were easier for me to kick than the Oxy withdrawals. And I'm like, bro, I'm not telling anyone. My parents are like, okay, like he's fine. Like we think he's fine. Like everything seems fine. And
you're playing chemist over there.
Dude, I'm like,
we all do.
I was in med school, I thought that's like really what I was in school for at that time.
Oh my God.
So, Kev, so like now I'm like, now I'm fully off Oxys, right? This is like March of 2015. I'm fully off Oxys, but now I'm fully back on Xanax.
Oh my God.
And so now I'm back to taking like 6 to 8 milligrams of Xanax a
right
day,
where you started.
Right where I started.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's fine. Like, I'm like, my body feels good. I'm like doing all right. And then I'm with this girl at this time. She's a year older than me. She goes away on her senior spring break. I'm in the city for my spring break, my junior year of college. And I'm with all my boys. We go out to Marquee one night and I get super fucking barred out. I'm on like 10 milligrams Xanax. I'm drinking Grey Goose on the rocks, 3 olives all fucking night. I had this genius idea to take a woman's Chanel purse and walk out of the club with it for no reason, bro. Like no reason.
Wait. Can we pause for 1 second?
Yes.
Did you need money?
No.
Did you need drugs?
No.
Did you need to give a Chanel bag to your girlfriend?
Absolutely not. She had many Chanel bags.
Why did you take a Chanel bag?
Bro, it's like it goes back to that like voice in my head that like doing the wrong thing felt good.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't really remember the exact specifics because I was so fucking barred out. But all I remember is leaving the club with a Chanel purse on my shoulder, an undercover detective asking whose bag that was. I told him it was my girlfriend's because like now I'm like, I don't care how barred out you are. When a cop starts talking to you, you kind of like sober up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fucking wasted, barred out. And he's like, whose bag? I'm like, it's my girlfriend's. He's like, okay, cool. What's your girlfriend's name? And I'm like,
Chanel? No,
I'm like, so-and-so, whatever. And so he opens up the woman's bag and goes through, looks at the woman's ID. And he's like, that's not her name. He's like, give me your ID. Like, all right. So I like go in my wallet, thinking I'm handing him my ID. I hand him my fake ID with an 8-ball of cocaine.
Oh my God.
So I get arrested on the spot. They charge me with grand larceny, possession of a fraudulent instrument, and possession of cocaine. So like I'm arrested. They bring me to the cell. They bring me to the precinct, and they're going through my wallet, and they see all these PBA cards from like my mom's friends, cops, all these people, and they like connect that like I'm Rosanna Scotto's son. So now next thing I know, they're like trying to take pictures on their cell phones of me and my mugshot. And I'm like, no, like this is not like, you can't do that, whatever. So long story short, I get arrested. They bring me to the Tombs. It's a Friday night. They bring me to the Tombs. I'm stressing the fuck out that I'm not going to get out until Monday. I'm in a cell like the size of this room, 30 people, the worst of the worst. I'm in there with guys who are murderers. I'm in there with guys who are bums from the subway, you know, who got arrested for smoking weed on the subway.
Yeah, the Tombs is no joke, dude.
No, the Tombs is where everyone goes
just to sit
until they see the judge. Then the judge either lets you go on bail or sends you to Rikers until your trial, and then you get sentenced. So I'm in the Tombs. I get out of, I'm stressing. It's Friday night. The correction officer is like, if you don't see a judge by 5 p.m. on Saturday, you're here until Monday morning because there's no judge on Sundays. So I get in Friday, 1:30 a.m. Saturday rolls around, 5 p.m. I'm watching this clock. Like that's all I'm doing. And I'm praying. I'm in there with a nice jacket, a nice watch on, dressed nice.
Of course you are. No.
And I'm like, bro, Kev, I'm like covering everything up. I'm like, dude, this is fucked. And this is really, really fucked. And I'm like, what happened? Like now I'm starting to think like, what did I do? And I'm like, fuck, did I steal a purse? Oh my God, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
5 o'clock comes. My name's not being called. 5:15 comes. The correction officer calls 3 other names. I'm like, all right, that's it. I put my hood up. I'm like, that's it. I'm here till Monday. I'm like, put my hood up, like trying to sleep. Can't sleep, obviously. I haven't eaten anything. Haven't drank anything. The last thing I drank was probably a Grey Goose on the rocks, 12 hours ago.
Dehydrated.
I feel like shit, bro. I feel like shit. 5:45. Louis Ruggiero, I'm like, jump up, fly upstairs. They bring me upstairs to see the judge. I walk into the courtroom. They call my docket number. They walk me into the courtroom. I see my dad and I see my attorney, Peter Frankel, who is like, bro, we'll get into him in a little bit. He's like, he's been my guardian angel. He's family. Him and my dad have had a law firm for, 5 million years. He saved my ass so many times, but he's the best human. He loves me and I love him. I'd do anything for him. I see him, my dad, and I see my dad's face. I turn around and I look at the corrections officer. I said, just bring me back downstairs. I was like, I don't even want to go home. She's like, I can't do that, sweetheart. I can't do that, sweetheart. The judge sees me, I read my thing. My lawyer does his thing. We walk out and I'm sitting with Peter Frankel, my attorney. He's like, what the fuck did you do? And Peter is like my uncle. I call him Mr. Minter because we played Candyland all the time growing up. And he'd always land on the mint guy. So we call him Mr. Minter. So he's known me since I was born, bro. And he's like, yo, what the fuck happened? What did you do? And I'm like, I don't really know. He's like, did you steal a purse? I'm like, I think so. I don't know. It wasn't intentional. I just grabbed it. I didn't need it. So we get through all that. I'm like, I need to go home. I haven't showered. I'm starving. And so we're walking through this little park in Chinatown to get to the parking lot where my dad parked his car. And my dad is just fucking drilling into me, rightfully so, just drilling into me. And he's like, and if you think this is the fucking worst of your problems, wait till you get home and see your mother. And I'm like, fuck. So we get home about an hour later and I'm home. My mom's like, listen, go take a shower. I'm going to heat you up some food and we're going to talk. And I was like, all right. So take a shower. My mom's being super nice to me at this point. I'm like, something's up. So I sit down, I'm eating. My mom's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it was an accident, but like, it wasn't an accident. Like, I intentionally took it, but I didn't know what I was doing because I was so fucked up.
Were you still kind of making excuses a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I like, it was like, I don't know. Like, it was an accident.
You also probably felt a little foolish taking a girl's purse for no reason whatsoever. And I've done shit like that just to get a rise out of the crew I was with, to make people laugh. And I understand and I get where you're, what you were talking about from when you were younger and wanting that recognition and wanting the attention. I've been there too.
Yeah.
And so go ahead. Your mom sits you down and
so we're talking and she's like, just like asking me the same question over and over again, like just in different ways. Like, why'd you do that? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't have an answer. Like, I'm an idiot. I need help, whatever. She's like, you know what? Just like, let's go to bed. We'll talk in the morning. She's like, don't tell any of your friends. I'm like, I'm going to go tell my friends that I got arrested for stealing a fucking Chanel purse, Mom. I'm like, yeah. So I go to bed. I wake up and all I wake up to is my mom screaming on the phone to somebody. And I wake up and I'm like trying to hear what's going on. And she's like, he's all over the fucking paper, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. So I Google Rosanna Scotto's son. And there's now 3 articles, New York Post, Daily News, Daily Mail, pictures of me from my Facebook, me partying in college, being a fucking douchebag. And Rosanna Scotto's son charged with stealing Chanel purse, fake ID, bag of cocaine. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I go to my text messages and it's like 30 text messages of like different people. Some are like, yo, are you okay? And some are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And others were like, hey, I'm here for you. Call me if you need me. And I just remember feeling the most embarrassed, shameful, just like I did not want to leave my room, bro. I didn't even feel comfortable being in my room. Like I needed a hole to go and hide in. That's how bad I felt. And I'll never forget my best friend, Alex Barra. I meet him in the hallway. I live on 30C. He lives on 30B since we were 7 years old. Basically brothers. I meet him in the hallway. He gives me a hug. First thing he says to me, he looks at me and goes, dude, he goes, you know I like Gucci. You know I don't like fucking Chanel. And we start cracking the fuck up. And in that moment, it was what I needed. I just needed someone to show me that they still loved me.
Yeah.
My parents were like fucking stage 5, off the rails, angry, ashamed, embarrassed. My mom's like worried that like Fox is going to fire her because of this.
Yeah.
I'm worried I've ruined my family. My grandfather, who I love and adore, may he rest in peace, was like, he texted me and I was like, he texted me, he was like, hey, I love you. I'd like to talk to you when you're ready. And like, I let everyone down to a point that I never let anybody down in my life, And so me and Alex, we're hanging out, we're talking, we're processing this. And he's just like, yo, like, it's like, maybe you have a problem. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, maybe you have a drug problem. He's like, you don't do this shit when you're sober. Like, all right, dude. I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. So anyways, I go through that whole horrible situation and I get put on this. Basically, my lawyer works out a deal where I have to go through a year of drug testing, a year of intensive outpatient programming. And I have to stay sober for a year. If I stay sober and I pee clean for a year and I show that I've shown up to all of these intensive outpatient programs, which was 5 days a week, then they'll drop all of the felonies to a disorderly conduct. And I met with the DA a couple times and she knew who my mom was. And she was like, you know what? Like, this is just like a kid who has a drug problem. And like, we're going to embarrass you and make an example out of you, but we're not going to throw you in the clinker. So I get lucky. I do this outpatient program for a year. Obviously, I'm staying sober. I'm passing all my drug tests. I'm showing up. I still, at this point, bro, refuse to go to AA. Refuse. And I'm in this group. I'm in this place. It's called New York Center for Living. It's in Manhattan. And it's for adolescents. It's for kids from 15 years old to 25, 26, 27 years old. And there's all these kids in there. And some of them are like, I go to AA because I have to. And then some of them are like, hey, like, I go to AA because I love it. It's actually like they bought into the program and they saw the benefits of what it was doing for them in their life. And then there was like me that was just like, I'm just here to get this case off my back and then I'm going back to partying. And I did that. And as soon as my court case was over, literally that night, I started snorting oxys again. Literally, Kevin, it was 1:00 court date. At 3:00, I had Oxycontins in my pocket.
So this was another mom knew the DA.
Yeah.
Got you out of it. Essentially, you had some repercussions.
Yeah.
You didn't go to jail. You didn't go to prison. Does that feeling of I'm untouchable start to creep back in?
The feeling of like, I made it out. I made it out again. I did it again. Look at me, Mr. Unscathed. But I will say this time, this started to follow me now because this was on the internet now.
This story
was on the internet now. And this was something that people weren't going to forget. And when I got arrested for stealing this purse, it was about 6 months after my friend passed away. And shortly after stealing the purse, a month after that happened, there was an investigation at GW as to how my friend passed away, where the drugs were coming from. And they were interviewing basically like our whole entire fraternity, all of our group friends who were close to one another. And then I get arrested for stealing this purse, and all of my friends at GW basically like kicked me to the curb. They were like, they pushed me out of the friend circle. They didn't want to hang out with me. Their parents were telling them, hey, we're done with him. Like, you should not be around him. Like, this kid is fucking trouble, And at the time, bro, it really hurt because I needed to feel loved and supported, and like I needed help, bro. That pushing me away like caused so much anger and resentment, and it was directed at other people, but the anger and resentment was really towards myself.
Yeah.
But I projected that onto everybody else, and my life became just like this, like I was a walking ball of anger and resentment. And I lived my life to put other people down. Not everyone, but like specifically a certain group of people, because the way it was coming off to me was that they were better than me. And I was on this thing of to show them that like, I'll fucking destroy you. You want to push me away? You want to call me all these names behind my back? I'll fucking destroy you because I'm a tough guy. I'm a macho man. I'm stronger than you. I'm bigger than you. My mom is Rosanna Scotto. Watch what I do. And that attitude, bro, just pushed me down even further.
Who were you really inside?
I was a scared, sad, completely shattered, and broken individual. I heard this woman share at a meeting once. And she said, when I came down to AA, she was like 12, 13 years sober. She's like, when I came down to AA, I was broke, busted, and couldn't be trusted. And when I heard that share about like, I would say 2 years ago. And bro, that share has always stuck with me because that's how I felt.
Yeah, I can relate to it too.
Dude, that's how I felt for so long. Like there was a period of time where if my mom asked me what the weather was and I told her that it was sunny and 80, she'd probably grab her winter jacket and her umbrella before she walked outside.
She didn't trust you.
She didn't trust me. If I said I was wearing a blue shirt, she thought I was wearing a black shirt. And I was broke, busted, and couldn't be trusted, bro. And I felt that. And the thing for me, and I'm able to say this now, is that I did drugs because I felt like that for so long and I wanted to numb that. But then there's this other part of me that's like, has all these morals and values that my family has instilled in me that I wanted so badly to meet and to achieve and to prosper. And like, I was doing the opposite of that. So it was contradicting every fiber of my body, but I was not able to control myself or make the right decision. So I'm always in chaos. I'm always in trouble. I'm always in turmoil. And the only thing that could turn off that voice that was like, you are a piece of shit. You are an utter disappointment. And nobody wants to be around you because all you do is bring chaos and trouble. The only thing that turned it off was drugs, bro. Nothing else turned it off. Nothing else turned it off, at least at that time.
Part of growing up, and very much so in sobriety, which is a journey we're both on.
Yeah.
It's accountability.
Yeah.
Do you blame your friends at GW for taking a step away?
Looking back on it now, absolutely not. If my son was friends with me in college, I would tell my son, if I catch you hanging out with him, I'm taking your car away. I'm taking your credit cards away and I'm pulling you out of school.
That's powerful.
And to even add more to that, I probably would have called this kid's parents and said to them, I don't know if you know what's going on with your son, but if this was going on with my son and you knew, I'd want you to tell me. Because I knew a lot of my friends would tell their parents like how nuts I was. And I'm over here running it amok. My parents have no idea. And so they had no idea, bro. I'm in DC. My parents are in New York. Like they can't keep eyes on me 24/7 unless you're going to hire a private investigator to just follow me around college all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I came back home after that arrest. I didn't go back to GW, obviously. I came home. I was going to Pace, which is downtown New York, try to finish my diploma. I just fucking hated school, bro. It wasn't for me. I got to this point where I was like, I just want to make money. I just want to work. I know enough people where like I can get a job somewhere and start working. So the case ended about a year after in early 2016. And I'm off to the races again. I'm drinking, I'm drugging, I'm partying.
You pull your will right back.
Yeah, I'm out of trouble. Like, why?
Heat's off.
I'm 20, 21. What am I being sober for?
Mm-hmm.
It was a phase. It was just GW. It was just those people that I was with. It was just the college scene. Like, I don't actually have a problem. Like, I can go and have a couple of drinks and like not do coke and not do oxys and go home. And
it was everything else but you.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then like case ends. I'm texting my dealer. I'm like, you got any blues? He's like, of course. I'm like, word, where am I meeting you? Ready to go. Had cash saved up because I haven't been drinking and using for the last year. Everyone trusts me. Hey mom, can I get $200? I'm taking a girl to dinner. There was no dinner, bro. It was $200 for pills.
Yeah.
And, coincidentally around that time, my mom's friend at the time, he was this famous jeweler. He calls my mom one day and he's like, you're not going to believe this. I have this kid showed up on my doorstep and we didn't know. He said that if he's from Florida and he moved to New York, and his mom told him, if you ever run into trouble to call this number. He got in some trouble. So he called me. We connected the dots. Long story short, we took a DNA test. He's my long lost son. I want Louis to meet him. My family calls me LJ.
Yeah.
So I want LJ to meet him. Okay. My mom's like, all right, tells me the story. My mom and I are both like, it sounds weird, but like, whatever. Like, why would this guy make up such an elaborate story like that? So I meet this kid. His name's Jimmy. Meet this kid. He's good shape, tatted up, handsome, loves partying. His dad gave him a credit card. He can go and buy tables in Manhattan. He's got girls with him all the time. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm back. I am back. I'm like, bro, what else do I need? I'm like, none of my other friends like me anymore. No one's fucking talking to me. This kid loves me.
My friend roster just freed up from GW, like, so I'm good to go.
I'm good to go. I'm good to go. So now I'm fucking friends with this kid. And he's a fucking nut, dude. But we're friends for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And, we're partying all the time, tables every weekend, drugs, girls, having a grand old time. And every time I'm telling mom, I'm like, oh, I'm going to hang out with Jimmy. She felt like comfortable with it because she was friends with the dad, Jeffrey. And she was like, yeah, like, why would they, like, they're not going to get in trouble together. Like, the dad's this prominent jeweler. And like, he just got out of this like purse snatching case. Like, let them have fun. Like, I think he learned his lesson. I think this may have scared him straight, was my mom's kind of attitude at this point. Meanwhile, we're fucking ripping it 5 nights a week. Cocaine, drugs, girls, parties, this, that. And, around summertime of 2016, me and him had a falling out. Me and Jimmy had a falling out. We stopped hanging out every day. And I kind of just take my space from him. And I'm like, at this point, I'm doing roughly 600 to 900 milligrams of Oxy a day. I'm like waking up. I'm before I leave the house, bro, I'm snorting around 200 milligrams, 300 milligrams of Oxy before I leave the house.
God.
Just to kick the dope sickness, bro.
Just to be normal.
Just to be normal. Yeah, you get a little nod of that, but it was just to like be like, okay, like I'm okay to like face the world right now. And around November, at this point in time, it's November of 2016, I'm doing 30s a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst I'd been in my drug addiction. I had this job that a family friend had gotten me. It was in Stamford, Connecticut. I was either showing up and nodding off at my desk and sleeping all day, or I wasn't showing up at all. I had an AA sponsor. His name's Ronnie A. He's an old school Italian guy. Love him to death. I talk to him to this day. He's the man. And he's trying to like get me into AA and get me to go. And I'm lying. I'm saying I'm going. Meanwhile, I'm not. I'm fucking snorting oxys all day. I'm not showing up to work. And one day my mom gets a call from this guy, Jameson, who got me this job. And he's like, yeah, like the owners of this company called me and said that LJ he's been sleeping all day. Like, is everything okay with him? And my mom's like, what are you talking about? So like, then my mom's antennas go like swing, like go up, like he's not showing up or he's sleeping all day. So now the heat's on me. My mom's like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? And then at that time, I was stealing money from my family to pay for my $1,200 a day pill addiction. It was $1,200 a day, bro, just to get my oxys. So one day I come back home to my living room and Ronnie A, my first sponsor, is sitting there with my mom and my dad. And I had just come from my therapist, who I knew the antennas were up. So I knew she was going to drug test me, my therapist. So I went to a smoke shop and bought a little bottle and put fake piss in the little bottle before I got there. And I put it in my pants.
A Whizzinator?
I did not get a Whizzinator.
Similar to
a Whizzinator.
Yeah.
So I get my Whizzinator and I go to my therapist. I pee clean. So then when I get home, she calls my mom before I get home. It's like, he peed clean. Like, so, like, unless he like, I couldn't go in the bathroom with him because she's a female therapist, but like he peed clean. Ronnie A told my parents, like, he brought clean pee with him. Like, he's an addict. Like, we know what we're doing.
Ooh, he knew.
So I get home, Ronnie A sitting here, my mom sitting here, my dad sitting here. And Ronnie A is like, bro, he's like old school Italian guy. He's got nice veneers, tan all the time, the gold chain with the Jesus Christ on it, like total G, but sober over 30 years, sober in Gamblers Anonymous for over 30 years, sober in AA for over 30 years. And he's a program guy. He is no fucking bullshit. He's a man of integrity. He sits down, he's sitting down, he goes, come here, kid. Come sit over here. He goes, okay, look, kid, you got two options. Option A, you accept the help we're about to give you. You're going to go away tomorrow. You're going to go get help. Your parents will still support you financially, emotionally, or spiritually. Or option B, you don't take our help. You pack your bag and you get the fuck out. Just like that. I'm looking around, me being all entitled, confused, hurt, angry. How could they do this to me? Okay. Fuck you. I'm packing my bag. I had a car at that time, which my parents paid for. My dad's like, before you leave, why don't you give me back my car keys, by the way? I'm like, fuck you, take the car keys. Give him the car keys. I pack a bag. I leave. I go get a hotel room. It's not there anymore. It was the Viceroy on 57th and Central Park South. No, 57th between like 7th and 8th, something like that.
Yeah.
I get a room there. I was on Hotels Tonight. It was super cheap. And like, bro, this is at the end of my run here. This is like really at the end of my run here. And I last about like 24 hours in this hotel room. It sucked. It was dark. It was right next to the elevator. It was noisy. And like this idea of a luxury life that I was living, which was like off my mommy and daddy's like credit card, like had just like come crashing down. And now I'm alone in this hotel room, like just snorting oxys. I'm not even getting high anymore. And I finally was just like, fuck, like I got no money. I got no drugs. This is coming to an end. This is coming to an end real soon. So, you know, at this point in time, something happened a week before that with the jeweler's son. And I'll go back because it's important and I slightly forgot. So, a week before that, this kid, Jimmy, who we had not spoken now for a couple months, 2 months maybe. I hadn't seen him. We text back and forth, but very platonic, very not
friends from a distance.
Yes. Calls me, texts me on a Saturday night at 5 a.m. Hey, pal, are you up? It was the only night in my drug addiction that Saturday night at 5 a.m. I was asleep. The next day I wake up Sunday, 1 o'clock. I text him like, yo, I was sleeping. What's up? Like, whatever. He's like, all good. I got to talk to you. And I'm like, cool. Give me a ring today. You know, I'm around. Doesn't call me. The next day, Monday comes and he calls me around like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever it was. He's like, where are you? I'm like, oh, I'm at Equinox, you know, across the street from your house. He's like, okay, I'm coming over. He comes over. We go to the locker room and he confesses that he murdered someone in his apartment and that he disposed of the body and that he buried and burned the body and the cops were looking for him and they were searching the building and the apartment, but not to worry. They're not going to find anything. I cleaned up, blah, blah, blah. I can't really talk about the specifics on this because he is appealing. He wants a retrial and like I'm advised by legal to not discuss the specifics, but he confessed the murder to me. And he then texted me about it that night saying, don't tell anybody what I told you. You know?
Are you believing him at this point though?
Bro, fuck no. I like literally was like, I told him like, bro, what are you talking about? You know, like I'm like, you're a good little Jew boy from Manhattan. You're not in Goodfellas. Like that's what I said to him verbatim, you know? And I leave the locker room. I'm like, dude, this like thinking about like, this kid's fucking nuts.
Screaming for attention.
I'm like, bro, I'm so happy I'm not friends with this kid anymore. You know, I go to a Knick game with my friend Josh and I tell Josh what he says. And my friend Josh like, bro, that kid will literally say anything for attention. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's crazy. I go home, I go to sleep that night. Everything's fine. I'm like, I wake up the next day. I go to my therapist. And on my way from my therapist, I'm leaving my therapist, I'm walking to the gym and I'm walking up First Avenue and I'm approaching his block and my head starts thinking about him then. And I'm like, oh, like if this kid's not lying, like there's going to be some type of police activity outside his house. So I get to his block. I look down the block. There's fucking NYPD crime unit trucks, detective cars, dogs. So now I'm like, oh my God, there's news cameras, everything. Kev, now I'm like, now my brain's like,
oh my God,
on a million, bro. And now I'm like, oh my fucking God. Oh my God.
He did it.
Oh my God. Then I see the guys in the hazmat suits wheeling out his Louis Vuitton duffel bags and luggage, which like I know only were his because they're very distinct.
Yeah.
Very like braggadocious type luggage and very like out there. So I see, I'm like, oh shit. So that starts happening. Then I go home, like obviously tell my mom, we call our lawyer, and now we're in like this weird phase. Then the 6 o'clock news goes on and the first fucking thing is this missing kid on the 6 o'clock news. And I'm like, oh my God. Like now I'm like, holy shit, he fucking did this. And he told me everything. Oh my God. So now that started like a huge week-long drug-fueled bender, straight bender. And then the following week,
you get intervention by
I get intervention by Ronnie, my parents. I last about 24 hours in the Viceroy. And I'm like, okay, this is the end. I go home. I get on my hands and knees. I beg for help. The next day I was on a plane. I went to inpatient treatment at Sierra Tucson, which was my first go at sobriety.
This is in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yep.
My first go at sobriety, Kev. Like my first go where like I was on this plane and I was like, I can never do drugs again. Like I am an addict. I was saying that while crushing up Oxy 30s in between credit cards and snorting them on the first row of the plane. I was like, oh, who goes to rehab sober? You know? It's
I agree.
It's like the diet starts tomorrow. I'm going to eat chocolate cake tonight, you know?
Yeah.
So I go to Sierra Tucson. I'm there for 45 days and I'm like, okay, like I'm going to go back to New York. I'm going to get a job and like, I'm going to get my shit together this time. And the therapist there was like, you're not going back to New York, buddy. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're going to sober living in Los Angeles. I'm like, LA. No, I'm not an LA boy. I'm a New York City guy. Like, I'm not going to LA. She's like, no, you're going. I'm like, okay, we'll see. We'll see about this. Call my mom. Still running self-will, you know, like not listening to anything that this place has taught me the first 30 days. I get on the phone with my mom. My mom's like, oh yeah, I know you're going to LA. And I was like, Mom, you can't do this to me. She's like, I've listened to you thus far and look where we are. She's like, how much money do you have in your bank account? I'm like, I don't know, $22. She's like, good. You're going where I tell you you're going and you're going to LA. So I get shipped to LA. I go to sober living. Like I did 45 days at Sierra Tucson. By the way, when my 45 days was up, I wanted to stay longer, but my insurance wasn't going to cover it anymore. So I had to get out of there, but I fucking loved it when I was there.
Sierra Tucson's an amazing program.
And bro, like I felt apart of people there because everyone there is like, it was my first taste at like really interacting and really like connecting with other people who have the same struggles as I did. And I felt so safe in this fishbowl, like protected from the outside world and the judgment of the outside world. The therapist understood me. The cafeteria lady like showed me love and compassion and understood me. And so anyways, I go to sober living in LA, 2017. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like a nice house. It's 12 beds. They're all kids. We're all kids. Everyone's in there like 18 to 27 years old. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Like after day one, it's like January 2017, 75 and sunny. You know what? This isn't too bad. They let me they take me to the gym every day. They were taking me to AA meetings. And this was my first taste at Alcoholics Anonymous, where I was like, I'm going to go here with an open mind. I'm going to listen. I'm going to see what's up. I'm going to try. Can't hurt at this point. I mean, look where I am. Can't hurt. And the great thing about specifically West Side AA in Los Angeles is that it's all young people, a lot of young people. And it was like, wow, walk in this room. There's like all like 20 and 30-year-old kids, guys and girls, like some sober really long, some sober, you know, same as me, a couple, you know, counting days. And I got really lucky. I met a lot of really good guys out there who are to this day like my brothers now, like my brothers who, you know, since 2017, bro, I've also been through a lot more adversity. And these guys who I've met since 2017 have never turned their back on me the way my friends at GW did. They've never abandoned me. They've always been there to pick me up by my bootstraps when I couldn't do it myself. And, you know, I'm like a week into sober living there, I get subpoenaed by the FBI for this murder trial.
They subpoenaed you.
Yeah.
Why did they subpoena you?
Because they had, you know, 3 years of text messages and evidence that we were friends.
And they probably saw the text.
Correct.
Don't tell anyone what I told you.
Yes.
After. Okay.
Yes.
So that was a red flag for them.
Yes.
They subpoena you. Okay. Do you have to go back to New York?
So the Fed subpoena me, and basically, which we knew was going to come. Like we knew that was going to happen at some point, but just because of like your best friend murder someone, even if you had nothing to do with it, like they're going to subpoena you because they want to talk to you. They want to talk. They want to know about this guy, his character, why he did this, whatever. So I knew it was coming. So they subpoenaed me. I fly back to New York about a week later. And this starts the process of like meeting with the Manhattan District Attorney. What did they tell you? What did he tell you? Give me the specifics. Okay, we did that. Then it's like, okay, this is going to go to trial. Larry is blaming Jimmy for the murder. We believe Jimmy murdered him. We have most of the evidence, but your testimony is really what brings it home for us. This is the way the prosecution described it to me. And there was a period of time where they were like, you know, there's a chance he takes a plea deal and he'll take, you know, 30 years or whatever the number was. And I was like, okay, like maybe I don't have to testify, because I knew that if I testified, I was going to get cross-examined by his attorneys. And Jimmy was going to tell them all the bad shit he knew about me from my GW days, my drug addiction days, stealing from my parents to fuel my addictions, you name it. He was my best friend, bro. He knew the good, he knew the bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like really paranoid about that, and like began this whole like 18-month period of time, bro, where like I'm flying back and forth from LA to New York, which is a brutal flight. You know, you can go New York to London in the same flight. And I'm going back and forth LA to New York. I'd say like once every 4 to 6 weeks to meet with the DA for 2 to 3 days, 6 to 8 hours a day. And we basically went through every single night of our friendship for the 3 years that I knew him to the best of my knowledge and recollection. And they were building this case around him. It was a very high profile case, given Jimmy's, father, and the kid who was murdered came from a really good family. He was a really good kid. I did not know him, but he was a really good kid. Good family, partying, ended up at this after party at Jimmy's apartment. Something popped off. To this day, nobody knows what. And he was murdered. And his body was thrown out of a window in Manhattan. And they drove his body to an hour and a half way to Jersey, and they buried and burned his body. They tried to chop him up in the bathtub before, and they couldn't do it. And they rolled him up in a comforter, threw him out a third floor window, drove the body to Jersey and buried and burned it. For no reason, bro. For no reason. For no reason that's good enough. There's nothing that could have happened that night that warranted that, because that kid was not looking for that. That kid was at an after party, maybe partying, doing some drugs, trying to probably get some girls.
Yeah. Which we all have done. Right.
People do that who aren't sober.
Right.
People do that on a regular weekend basis.
Yep.
Who aren't in recovery or normies.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't end up getting murdered like that for no reason. So, now I'm in this 18-month period where I'm sober. I'm going through AA and I'm really bought in. I have a sponsor and I have a sponsee and I'm taking people through the steps. I'm going through steps. I'm going to meetings and I have this amazing job that I just started and I'm making a lot of money. But I have this fucking case hanging over my head that I'm going to have to testify. And I know the New York Post is going to be there. I know the Daily Mail is going to be there. The New York Times is going to be there. It was all over, Kev. So I'm praying, bro. Please take a plea deal. Please take a plea deal. Please, please, please. He does not take that plea deal. We go to trial. I'm the last witness that the prosecution calls to the stand. And my shit's aired out, bro. My shit's fucking aired out. My shit's aired out, bro, from the prosecution side, because the prosecution is asking me, you had a crippling drug addiction. How much were you doing a day? How much did it cost? Where were you getting that money? And so they're building me up to the jurors, asking me really bad questions about my past so that I can be honest and show that I'm here telling the truth, so that when they ask me the questions about the murder, the specifics, the jurors would believe me. So it's all being thrown out there. And then Jimmy's lawyer comes on and cross-examines me. And bro, his job and his only job is to make me look untrustworthy and to discredit the prosecution's star witness. That's any good criminal defense attorney's job, is to discredit the prosecution's witness and the prosecution's story. So, bro, I want to make this clear. I was not there that night. I had nothing to do with it. Thank God I was fucking asleep when he texted me that, because if I was awake, I would have been like, hey, yeah, I'm up. What's up? He could have been like, come over. There's blow here. I got girls. There's an after party, whatever. And I would have been like, okay, 5 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm on my way. Let's go. And then I would have walked in and there could have been a dead body there. And he could have been like, help me clean this up or I'm going to fucking kill you. Or I could have walked in, seen that and walked out and called the cops. And regardless, my life has changed either way.
Right.
Forever. And my life has been changed forever, regardless, by just being involved in it the way that I was, bro. You Google me and it's like the first 10 articles on Google about me is jeweler to the star's son confessed murder to Rosanna Scotto's son. Rosanna Scotto's son involved in a hooker's sextortion plot because he was trying to blackmail me with videos of me having sex with a hooker in his apartment and send it to my ex-girlfriend at a certain period of time. Jimmy was. Rosanna Scotto's son, crippling drug addiction, stole from his family to fuel his addiction. Then in the Chanel bag purses articles are there. So like, you Google me, bro. It's just fucking shit. It's just shit, straight shit. I don't know other word to describe it. I wish I had another word. It's horrible. And at 30 years old, going through all of this shit, you know, I'm 6 years past the trial. No, 7 years past the trial now. 7 years. And almost 10 years or almost 10 years since the actual murder happened. And a little over 10 years since I stole the purse. This shit still follows me, bro. This shit still follows me. Like, I've done business deals with people who were going to do business with me and then didn't because they Googled me. And it didn't matter who my mom was. And it didn't matter who my mom was when they were writing those articles. That didn't protect me. That didn't protect my reputation. That didn't protect my family from the shame, the embarrassment, the guilt, the pain. And what people don't understand is that my family did nothing. I did all of this. I made these choices. And like, these choices caused severe consequences for my family. And I think once you step into recovery, and like you said, you take accountability. Recovery is accountability. Mm-hmm. That's really what recovery is. It's community and accountability. And I take a look at myself and I'm like, yo, I was such a selfish, egotistical maniac running it amok. But like other addicts, we don't care. We will do whatever it takes to get high. I'll do whatever it takes to get money for my next bet. I'll do whatever it takes to get money for my next fix. That's all that mattered to me, bro. I didn't care that my mom was up at 6 a.m. waiting for me to come home, calling out sick from her news anchor job because she was afraid I was fucking dead because I wasn't answering my phone for 2 days. Then I'd come home all banged up. Oh, what are you so upset about? It's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. It's a very big deal. You know? And for the longest time, I just didn't care. And then as I started to get older, I thought, okay, I'm in recovery. Now I'm making my own money and like things are really good. And then I was engaged to this girl and like things were really great. And then things started to not be so great in my relationship. And then COVID came and fucked up my business. And that was it. Back off the wagon again. Back off the wagon. I'm still with my ex-fiance at this time. I'm back off the wagon, but I'm doing it in the dark. My fiance at the time didn't know. My mother and father are still in New York. I'm in LA. No idea. I'm telling my ex that I'm going to the studio to record with this artist that I was managing till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Bro, I was out sniffing coke until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning by myself. So that was 2020 that started.
They say a relapse happens way before a relapse actually happens. Let's go through. So you went through life on life's terms times 20 with the trial, with all the other shit that was just going on in your life. You start to build this life. You get engaged. You have your own business. COVID comes, essentially wipes the business out. There's some issues with your fiance. Looking back at it, what was it that happened in your sobriety? Because you weren't putting yourself first at this point. Seems like your life started to get really big and you started to get some of the things that you wanted. You were making a name for yourself. You had your own company. You were potentially on this road to start a family with this girl. What was it? Did you stop going to meetings?
Yes.
Did you stop making amends?
Yes.
Did you stop,
Come on, Kev. Keep it going.
Putting God first.
Yes.
So
yes.
What happened? Why did you stop doing those things? And why did you take your will back?
So I think once I started making serious money, I was making over 7 figures a year for almost 3 years straight.
With your business that you started?
My business, yeah. I started gambling super heavy during that time. And I also I moved my best friend Alex out to California. Then I started managing this artist. I moved him from New York to California. I got a house. My ex at the time, she wasn't working. So I'm like, don't worry. Here's credit cards, go do whatever you want. And I just took on all of this stress. And then you add to it the gambling and sobriety. And the gambling started slowly chipping because when you're gambling, bro, you're being deceitful. That's not living in the light. That's not living in recovery. And I'm not talking about I went to Vegas every year, one time a year, and I played blackjack and craps and roulette. I'm talking about I'm sports betting daily. I'm going to Vegas once a month.
You're escaping. It's just another symptom of the disease.
Yes.
And the symptoms of the disease could range from doing drugs to drinking alcohol to women to
Correct.
Gambling.
Correct.
You still had that void inside of you that you were trying to fill.
So I think during that time period also, I took on so much so quick that I stopped going to meetings because I was like, I'm making all this money and I'm so busy with work and I have a fiance and I have this artist that I'm managing. I'm doing all these things that I made up in my mind that I didn't have an hour a day to go to a meeting, or I didn't have another hour of the day to make calls to other members in the room, to other friends in the room. And I didn't have time to do a prayer and meditation practice anymore. I didn't need it anymore. I was good, bro. I was cured. If you didn't, you know that feeling?
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you're cured, you do a little bit of AA, you make some money. You're like, everything's great. You got everything. You're cured.
You become God.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just bro, it was just okay, I'm sober and I'm not going to drink or do drugs, but I don't need to go to AA anymore. And I don't need to do the things that AA requires me to be sober because I'm good. I have my will. My self-will is stronger than my reliance on God or God's will, because I know I can not drink and use as long as I just don't drink or use. That was my mentality. And all that pressure, bro, builds up over time. This pressure of you can't let this kid down who's giving you his music career. You can't let your fiance at the time down. You can't let your best friend down who I've employed him to help me with all my projects, my tickets, my music. I can't let him down. He lives with me. My rent's $15,000 a month. I got $5,000 a month in car payments. I got $2,000 a month in utilities. I got $2,000 a month in insurance. My nut every month was $30,000, bro. And my ticket business was making anywhere from 80 to 150K a month. Some months more, some months less. I had a couple big events a year that I made a lot of money on. And, then COVID comes and just wipes it all out. And I was gambling. So I didn't have 6 months saved in the bank. I had 2 months saved in the bank.
We never win gambling.
No.
We always lose.
Compulsive gamblers always lose.
Yeah.
Compulsive gamblers always lose. Compulsive gambling for me was never about winning. It got to the point, bro, where it was just the escape. It was the action. I didn't care if I won. I was just as high winning as I was higher. I got higher when I lost. When I had nothing. And I had to figure out how I was getting money the next day to put the other bet in. So COVID comes, wipes my business out. Now I'm just riddled with fear. AA is non-existent because COVID. AA is on Zoom. But I'm so far away from AA at this point that I'm not going to go to AA now, and I'm definitely not going to AA on Zoom. So I started smoking pot, taking edibles, smoking pot. And then, dude, it was just a random night hanging out at a friend's house during COVID. There was like 6 of us that like we only hung out because like we were like very close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's fucking pouring out shots of 1942. And I hadn't drank in over 2 years at that point. I was smoking weed for maybe 2 or 3 months. I fucking just took a shot. 1942. Didn't plan it, Kev. It wasn't like I'm going to my friend's house tonight and I'm going to drink. It was just like, I'm going to go out, smoke some pot, hang out with the boys, get the fuck out of this house. I'm locked up in here all day. This is bullshit. Get to his house, they're all drinking 42, having a good time. I'm like, psh. And I remember drinking it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Here we go again. Here we go again. And I can't let anybody know because all of these people are relying on me. So fast forward about an hour and a half later, I got a bag of Coke in my pocket. And that was it, bro. And that started my next run that lasted from 2021 until about 2023.
Until January of 2023.
Until January of 2023.
Take us through how no. Take us through. We're solution right now. Yeah. We're solution. Yeah. And the solution that you have been able to implement and what has kept you sober and clean up to this point is absolutely, it's amazing. And it could help so many people. So walk us through how you got sober this time.
Okay. So I'm going to start with my life collapsed. The artist I was managing ran away, went back to New York. My ex-fiance and I broke up. I went on about a 1.5 year long run. I wound up in Cartagena, Colombia for 3 months. Went for a week, canceled my flight home, stayed 3 months in a drug psychosis in 2022.
Oh my God.
Refused to come home. It was horrible. My mom was a mess. It was truly horrible. Then I'm home, 2022. I'm working at this restaurant in New York City, and everyone thinks I'm sober. I'm drinking and drugging. I get caught. I get fired. That was December of 2022. I get fired a week before Christmas. I had stayed home from a family Christmas vacation to Anguilla because I wanted to work and prove to the owners of this restaurant how much it meant to me that I'm working over Christmas and New Year's and not going to the Four Seasons in Anguilla with my family. And a week before, I got fired for my addictions. And I was home for Christmas and New Year's by myself. And I remember just being home and being so fucking depleted for the first time. Like, for the first time, I felt like, Kev, there was no more fight left in me. There was no more runs left. I had no more. I was done. I'd known surrender. I'd known step one and powerless, and my life had become unmanageable, but that was my step one for me. It was my step one before I did it with my sponsor. That was it right there. My step one was right there. Christmas Eve night, a week after I got fired, I was sitting there alone by myself, drinking and drugging, hysterically crying that I just busted my ass for this restaurant, bro. 6 months, I worked 7 days a week, over 80 hours a week. And there's all these customers that loved me, respected me, and I had this great reputation. And I'm like, fuck these articles. I finally am making a name for myself. I'm finally on the right path. But I'm not, because I'm drinking and using. And then it catches up, I get fired, and I'm sitting there Christmas Eve. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
you're all alone.
I'm done.
Yeah.
That was it right there. I was like, I'm done. And I went out to LA because that's where my sober community was. I was going to get a free scholarship at this place called Beit Teshuva. And I was supposed to go in on January 8th. Long story short, they had to push my bed back a couple weeks. And I'm with, after my ex-fiance, I met my current fiance now. And we were together for on and off for 3 years because of my addictions. I would burn the relationship down. And she's always, since day one, saw the good in me that like I couldn't see in myself. And she's always stuck by me through everything, the Colombia trips, the chaos, the destruction, the drugs, the cheating, everything. She's always been like, I want to kill you, but I fucking love you. And I know there's good in you. So she stayed in LA when I had moved out of LA. And so when I moved back to LA in 2023, I was like, hey, like I'm coming to Beit Teshuva. She was like, come early and come spend a couple of days with me. And I was like, yeah, of course, like whatever. So I stay with Mia in her apartment and we're partying. We're partying. You know, we're drinking, we're having a grand old time, partying.
Is this the last hurrah kind of situation?
Hurrah. I'm like, I'm going to Beit Teshuva January 8th. I'm going to get sober. They pushed my bed back a couple weeks. I'm like, perfect. We could hurrah a couple more weeks.
Oh, God.
So it lasted about another week. And then Mia was like, listen, like, I have no money. My parents are not giving me any money. I'm on unemployment. I'm getting $200 a week. That's all I had. I had no car, no apartment, no money. Mia's like, if you want to stay with me, this was January 22nd. She's like, if you want to stay with me in my apartment, you have to get sober. I can't live like this. Like it was fun for 2 or 3 nights, but like, hello, like this is not real. And you could stay here as long as you want and stay sober. But if you don't want to be sober, you have to go somewhere else. And I was like, God damn it. Everyone's the sober thing. Man, I got to get sober. Well, Kev.
That's a normal person who doesn't have a problem with drugs or alcohol.
So, Kev, you know what I did? I was already surrendered. But I was like, oh, I'm going to treatment. So, like, let me at least enjoy it.
As a fellow addict, I get it, brother. I get it.
So, January 23rd, I woke up. Mia was letting me use her car. I went to 3 meetings a day. I did 127 meetings in 90 days. February 1st comes and Beit Teshuva was like, oh yeah, your bed's right. I'm like, bro, I'm good now.
What do you have, like a week at this point?
I had like a 20, I don't know, 17 days, 18 days, like something like that.
Yeah.
But like I was in a great routine. Like I was waking up, I was going to the gym, making myself breakfast.
Structured. Days.
I got a sponsor, my second meeting. My best friend, may he rest in peace, Jacob, he passed away this summer from an accidental overdose as well. He was 6 months sober at the time. He brought me to this amazing men's stag meeting in Venice. And he's like, this is my friend Dalton. This is your sponsor. And I was like, bro, I was like 3 or 4 days sober.
Yeah. Couldn't even see straight.
Yeah. And Dalton was like, and I, we met, we hung out, whatever. And then after the meeting, he was like, yo, let's talk. And he was like, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Like,
go to any lengths.
Yeah. Like, are you, like, if I tell you to like go left, are you going to go left or are you going to think about going left? And I was like, bro, like, I'm so banged up. Like if you tell me to jump off the bridge, I'll go jump off the bridge at this point, you know, like I'll do anything. And that was it, bro. He gave me this sheet. It was like, get a notebook, write the prayer of St. Francis, write your name, your sober date, the prayer of St. Francis, print this phone list. And he's like, starting tomorrow, I want you to call 3 different people on this phone list every single day. And you have to text me and tell me who you called. When you get into bed every night, I don't care how late it is, you text me that you're in bed and that you're safe and you're sober. When you wake up in the morning, you're to go outside, you're to set your phone timer to 5 minutes, and you're going to thank God for waking you up and giving you another day. And so at this point, I'm like, I've done it every other way, bro. It's the only way I've never fully done it the AA way at this point. I was like, let's go. The one thing that I was skeptical of from the beginning was the calling 3 people on the phone list that had, like, these are 3 strangers. These are 3 strangers. So I did it. And about 4 to 5 months in, I realized why he had me do that. Calling 3 people in the rooms, 3 different people every day. Most of the conversations like, hey, I'm Louis. I'm Louis R. You know, I got 5 days, 6 days, whatever. How's your day going? Blah, blah, blah. It's very like scratching the surface. It was putting my name in people's heads, and people like you who have 7, 8 years would get this phone call from me. And then you'd see me at the meeting the next night. You'd be like, oh, Louis, what's up? Like, oh, I just spoke to you yesterday. Like, oh, dude, nice to meet you. Like, what are you doing after this meeting? Let's grab coffee. Let's grab a bite to eat. Like, let me get to whatever. And then people like you who have 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, 20 years, like gravitated towards me because I was putting my hand out. And this is what AA is all about. The newcomers who come in, it's all about put your hand out and ask for help, and someone will grab your hand and help you. But someone's not going to grab your hand and take you, right? Like, I feel like sponsorship is like, I can take a horse down to the river, but I can't make him drink. My sponsor was like that. He's like, I'll take you to the river, but are you going to drink? Like, I can't teach you how to drink. So I did everything he told me to do, bro. And, you know, I surrendered. And then 11 months into my AA, I got humbled again with the gambling stuff. And I had to surrender again. I surrender again.
But you didn't turn to a drink or a drug.
Absolutely not.
To resurrender.
And I'll tell you why. And I had been praying at this time, like, God, like, give me an out. Give me an out on this gambling stuff. And I got an out, and I got honest, and I was in so much pain again. But at this point, bro, I'm engaged to Mia. She's my fiance right now. Love her, bro. I couldn't break this girl's heart anymore. And I have a son. And I think my son saved my life. If I didn't have my son, I don't know if I wouldn't have drank.
Wow.
I don't know what I would have done or how much longer the gambling would have gone if it wasn't for my son. Because every time I was looking at my son, I was in so much pain doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was an extra huge layer of guilt that I never had from my gambling. Because I never had anyone else but me. It was never that's the other thing, you know? And I think, like, now, bro, I'm like, I'm in the light and I'm not living in the dark anymore. And, you know, it's all coming together, bro. It's all coming together. And, like, I'm present. I'm present with my son. I'm present with my fiance. And, like, my fiance, I got to talk about her for 60 seconds, even though she deserves much longer. Bro, I've put this girl through so much the last 5 years, 4 years with my addictions, gambling, drugs, alcohol, cheating, disappearing, Colombia for 3 months. Bro, while we've taken breaks because, like, I've had to, she's always reminded me how much she loves me. She's always been gentle with me and, like, supported me and encouraged me. She's never been like, you're a piece of shit. She's always been like, hey, like, you struggle with this shit. Give yourself some fucking grace. Like, it's okay. The last time with the gambling, though, she was like, if you gamble again, like, that's it. Like, you've done this in AA. You know what you need to do. I don't need to remind you. I don't need to get on your back. Just do it. And like, when it happened, I was like, I was worried. I was like, are you going to leave me? I was like, if you're going to leave me, just fucking do it now. Like, let's just get it all done now so we can all move on with our lives. Like, don't leave me in a year. And she looked at me and she was like, we've been through so much. Like, we have a family, we have a son. Like, that is not an option. Like, I'll never leave you. But if you gamble again or you drink again, I will take the kid and I will leave you. And to be honest, bro, that is such a fair and respectful boundary that she has, because it's not about her. It's about my son. It's about not letting my son grow up in a household that's riddled and crippled with addiction and chaos and turmoil. The kid doesn't deserve that. And I know there's a lot of people who grew up in those households, and it deeply affects them. And even if some of those people initially come out of it and become this like mega titan in whatever industry they're in, like, those people suffer until they finally get to a point where like, hey, I need to do a lot of self-work on my inner child because of what I went through as a kid. So, you know, Mia, dude, she's the MVP. She's like the best partner you could possibly imagine. Like, yeah, every man's fucking dream is my fiance. And I think I had to go through what I had to go through to get to where I'm at. But to have a partner that stood by me through all of it, bro, I tell everyone, she's fucking battle tested. Yeah. She is battle tested. She is with me because she loves me. Yeah. Not anything else. She really loves me. And that, like, bro, that's all you want in a relationship, you know?
Yeah. I've met your fiance. You're blessed. You're very blessed. You have a beautiful family. But also too, I want to go back a little bit. Your whole family is the MVPs.
Oh yeah.
Your sister, your mom, your dad. Now, it's crazy. You're a parent. I'm a parent. There is no blueprint to parenting. There is no manual that anyone can refer to. So when these things are happening in your life, it's like, what do we do? Do we send him to this rehab? Do we bail him out? Like, I would never want my daughter to sit in the tombs for more than a day.
Yeah, of course not.
You know, send them to rehab, send them here, take care of them. Your parents did the best that they could. And they supported you and they loved you.
You know, my parents have been through fucking hell and back. And my father's family are mostly all addicts. My dad's dad was a compulsive gambler who gambled away the house multiple times growing up for my father. Mm-hmm. My dad's has a sister who's an active alcoholic and struggles with sobriety. My dad had another sister, may she rest in peace. She passed away at the age of 69 from an accidental overdose. And you know, bro, it's in my genetics. And for me, like, bro, this is a generational curse that has tormented my family. And I think over the last year, not even two years and, you know, 2 years and change, the last year, I've had this like awakening where I'm like, this is so much more to me than just getting sober for me. Like, getting sober and actually changing my behaviors and changing the human being that I am is breaking a generational curse that has tormented 4 generations of my family.
Yes.
Like, my son never has to see his father drink, drug, or gamble. And like, when our kids are in high school, gambling by that time is going to be like
easily accessible.
It's going to be like going to buy a fucking Snickers bar from the store.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
And it's preying. And then you have like LeBron James and all these people who are like advertising for DraftKings, and like, it's like, you motherfuckers, you don't have enough money that you got to promote this. This is a whole nother conversation.
I respect everything you're saying and you are speaking the truth, but you're also taking accountability in the sense that you're breaking the chain.
Yeah.
You're
That's
breaking
the most
it.
important thing.
You are being a role model for your son for when your son gets older.
And the most important thing that I want to say, Kev, is I'm always going to be breaking it. There's never a point in time in sobriety where I will get to say, I have broke the chain. I will be breaking the chain day in and day out until the day I die. When I die, and I hopefully die a sober man without gambling and drugs and alcohol, that's when I will have broke the chain, but not before then. And I think that for people in early sobriety, it is one day at a time. And sometimes for me, when I got sober 26 months ago, bro, like, Kev, the first like month, dude, there were times where it was like 1 hour at a time for me. Like my parents weren't talking to me. I had no money. Like there were so many moments where I had the fuck it's, a case of the fuck it's, where I just wanted to go drink and drug and disappear off the face of the earth because I was in so much pain. But like sobriety is about like the accountability of facing that pain, how we're going to fix it. And like, what are we going to do today? It's not tomorrow. I may drink tomorrow, but I know today when I woke up, I am not going to drink today. I will worry about tomorrow. Today, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drug. I'm not going to place a bet. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to steal. And before I go to bed, I'm going to replay the day. And if I did something that was questionable, I'm going to get honest about it. Because that was the other issue for me was, like you said, the drink before the drink was like little instances of white lies and bad daily behavior that was like not that big of a deal. You're driving on the road, someone cuts you off, you drive by them, you flip them off, call them an asshole, whatever. Like that chips away at your sobriety.
Enough of those build up to a relapse.
Correct. Or enough of like, you tell your girls like, where are you going? And you're like, oh, I'm going to Joe Schmo's, and you really go to Frank the Tanks or something. I don't know why I'm saying these names, but and like, there's no reason to do that. But like, for some reason, addicts, bro, like lying became like such a big part of our lives that like I'm a little over 2 years and 2 months into sobriety. Like I'm still actively working on breaking behavioral thoughts and habits that have been built up over 20 years, 25 years. Like that shit's just not going to go away after 2 years. That's going to take 10 years, 15 years of continuous sobriety and recovery of doing that.
Well, Louis, I really appreciate you asking me to join you on your first opening episode. I am so excited for you. You're embarking on this new journey, and you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it to help other people. And that's how the program works. That's how sobriety works. You can't keep what you have unless you give it away. And not only are you breaking the chain for yourself, you're trying and attempting to break the chain for others, because it's an epidemic. Addiction, alcoholism, it's a big problem. And gambling, huge problem.
Yeah.
So I commend you. Congratulations,
Thanks,
with
brother.
your son and fiance. You have a beautiful family who supports you, and you have morphed into that man that everyone has wanted you to be for so long.
We're on our way.
We're on our way, and we're doing it a day at a time.
Yes, it is. It's a journey, and I appreciate you and love you and adore you, bro. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is the way our paths have reconnected. And I'm excited for the future, bro.
Love you too, brother. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yes, sir.